on the homepage and in the Parlay Lounge. Meanwhile, let's dive into this game. Dan, the Colts have been great, but all year long we keep saying, well, wait until he has to face Patrick in the playoffs. As it turns out, here we are before Thanksgiving, and it's the Chiefs who desperately need to win this game. Are they going to?
No, I'm taking Indy, and because Indy's run game is the Eagles' run game of last year. It's the best big play run game in the NFL, in part because it's the most athletic offensive line in the NFL. And I think that's going to be a huge challenge. Yesterday we talked about Tyler Warren and how he matches up. Tanner Bortolini is the big deal for me, okay? Jonathan Taylor in the gun. He's one of the rare centers that you could pull in the NFL. What that does, it creates angles for your offensive line. It also creates voids in a defense because athletically you got to move so sideline to sideline. There's a big chunk run. I mentioned Philly last year because Philly consistently had, it felt like game to game, a 60-yard touchdown run where Saquon would make this massive run out of maybe a 5-yarder. You get the defense to overcommit, something Kansas City's going to do because you have to stop the run. Jonathan Taylor's strength constantly keeps his feet going, and then his ability to win in the open field, one-on-one tackling, while also running away from defenders has been something we have not talked about enough this year. Their ability or willingness to block downfield is a all-11. This Kansas City defense is good. It's not what it has been in the past. I think the big play run element of Indianapolis is a huge deciding factor.
Let's talk about how significant it would be if Dan is right. Can we put up B17, please? The Chiefs are fighting for their playoff lives. If they lose this game, their chance of making the playoffs fall to 35%. There's a 2-3 chance, Bart Scott, that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce miss the playoffs. Are we seeing the end of what has been an extraordinary, historic run in KC?
I think we are. We've seen this before, right? History kind of repeats itself sometimes. We saw this in New England where, Tom Brady had different iterations of greatness. I think the window is still open whenever you have Patrick Mahomes, but it's time for a reset. You talk about guys like Chris Jones, you talk about Travis Kelce, they're on their last leg, and they're trying to squeeze out another Super Bowl on the way. I think it's over, but they'll be back. And I think right now you have teams that don't fear them anymore because they know they're not a legitimate threat. I think their fate was sealed when they decided to hold on to the fourth-round draft pick and not give up the third for Breece Hall. This team is one-dimensional, too dependent on Patrick Mahomes, and his defense isn't what it once was.
We could put the picks up on the screen because we do have some who are not ready to give up on Kansas City. No. Even though you picked Denver to win the division, you like KC Sunday.
I do, and part of it is because Patrick Mahomes, I called that game versus the Denver Broncos, and outside of his first throw, the next three were misses by Mahomes. He missed Xavier Worthy on a post route. He missed Tyquan Thornton on a go route down the sidelines. And then it was a miscommunication between him and Noah Gray in the middle of the football field. And check out this first one. This is Xavier Worthy. How many times have we seen Patrick Mahomes in his career miss a wide open wide receiver? Xavier Worthy runs a 4-2-1. And then check out this one. This is Tyquan Thornton down the sidelines. I'm so accustomed to seeing Mahomes do this in his entire career. You got to make these plays. And then when he got down to the tight red zone in the third quarter, he turned the football over. So for Patrick Mahomes, he has to be on his P's and Q's. You get into the dance, you have a chance. I'm not really to put a seal over him yet.
I'm not ready to declare this season over, AFC West or the AFC in general. They're 0-5 in one-score games. They were 12-0 in those games last year. So you say, well, what's the problem? It's very confusing. They have all the same players. They have all the healthy guys they need. They have all the same coaching staff. Little things matter, though. Guys, they had 10 penalties last week. They don't do that usually. They had an extra point blocked last week. That doesn't happen. They give up an 80-yard punt return to Marvin Mims. That doesn't happen against that special teams unit. So the little things are starting to matter. I think they can still tighten up. And I look at this matchup. I know we're ready to crown the Colts and Tanner Bortolini. I know we love a good Tanner Bortolini film. I do. I love it. I love it.
It's a great meatball.
It is good. That said, I don't know, Mahomes with the season on the line at Arrowhead, I'll take Mahomes in this game on 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Me too.
I'm with you. But they're chasing Buffalo. Correct. They're chasing Houston.
Fair.
They're chasing Jacksonville, who all have wins over them, at least 2 of the 3. They're chasing the Chargers. They're chasing Baltimore. They're in a hole right now.
No doubt.
Numbers-wise, there's a hole.
If they lose this game, I think they're going to be done. 10 seconds.
Are we talking about the Lure Anarumo effect, too? Remember, he's the guy that's been the kryptonite, and he got what he needed with Sauce. He knows how to play this Kansas City concept offense. I think, it's over for
A
me.
reminder, Lou Anarumo is now the defensive coordinator in Indy. He was in Cincinnati those years when every now and again they went into Arrowhead and found ways to win. Coming up, we go back.
Cincinnati Bengals. And then, of course, the Chiefs. Think about this. All 4 of those teams combined, starting off Week 12, have a losing record. Think about that.
That's crazy.
They have combine all of the records, they have a losing record. Nobody thought that there would be this much parity in the AFC, yet here we are. Now, here's what I'll say. The Kansas City Chiefs, 5-5. They're only 9% of the teams that have started off 5-5 through the first 10 games to actually make the playoffs, and only one of them won the Super Bowl. That would be your 2001 Patriots, Evan. The Kansas City Chiefs feel like one of those teams that you want to lean toward being able to be on the right side of that history. But the only thing that gives me pause is that the Chiefs don't typically play well against the Indianapolis Colts. They are 0-for in the Mahomes record, under the Mahomes era, against the Indianapolis Colts in the regular season. They're 0-for-2. So I know that teams change throughout the years, but there's something about that laundry that brings out the worst in Mahomes and that Chiefs team. And you got to be a little bit concerned that Patrick Mahomes could be on the doorstep of his first 3-game losing streak in his career.
Well, if you're a Colts fan, you're concerned with what you've seen from Daniel Jones from the past couple games. He looked unbelievable through the first few games of the season, first 8 games really of the season. And the pass through, he's thrown 4 interceptions. He's lost 3 of 6 fumbles. He's been sacked 12 times, and he's produced 2 of his 3 worst single-game passer ratings. So while they give the Chiefs fits, you're wondering what version of Daniel Jones you're going to get in this matchup.
But doesn't that make it even worse?
If they lose?
Yeah, because if you're saying, like, we know that I believe in the Colts defense, and they added to it, obviously, with the 2 first-rounders going out for Sauce Gardner. I believe in their running game, obviously, on Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor. But the passing game, obviously, with Daniel Jones is the issue. But if the Chiefs lose to that, I mean, it's amazing. The piece of audio that I am about to play for everyone is literally labeled Patrick Mahomes preparing for what is at stake being 5-5. Think about that for a second. What's at stake 10 games into a season for a guy who's won 3 Super Bowls? Let's hear from Mahomes.
Just like if you were going to like a big divisional game or a playoff game, whatever it is, you just know what's at stake. And so you try to prepare yourself throughout the week and do the little extra stuff so that your mind can be settled on game day, and then you can go out there and just play, knowing that you need to go out there and win the football game. And know we're playing against a really good football team that's playing great football right now. And it's a great opportunity at the end of the day. Like obviously we're 5-5, not where we want to be at. But we get to write the rest of this season's story, and it starts this week with the Colts at Arrowhead, and I'm excited for us to go out there and do it.
I mean, we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs 10 games in, comparing it to a playoff game? I'm like in a state of shock about this.
It is a playoff game for them, though, Ev.
Yes.
If they lose, they're going to be out of it. They got to win. We're at that point now.
The Chiefs have a must-win.
They've gotten rid of their margin for error. They got to win, Ev. With what's going on around them, with what's happening in the AFC, the Houston Texans getting a win last night, the Baltimore Ravens having an easier path as a 500 team in the AFC to get to the playoffs, the Chargers, the Bills, they got to win. There ain't but so many playoff spots.
If you guys just thinking about this, if you guys were sitting there in the NFL league office, are you happy that we may have a changing of the guard in terms of all these teams around the playoffs right now, or are you scared? Oh, my God, we actually could go into January and February without Mahomes, without Jackson, without Allen, without Burrow? This is what we are doing right now. If we would have said, hey, before the season, let's come up with our storylines preemptively for every week of the NFL season, and we would have said, all right, as we go into week number 12, let's talk about whether or not the Chiefs have a regular season legacy game. What? The only way I could have imagined that is if they started 11-0. That's the only, or 10-0 in this case. This is wild that we are doing this, and it's justified. It's warranted. They have brought it upon themselves. But I cannot believe that we are talking about the Chiefs and the idea of them having to win a regular season game. And then the other part of this, which I know Nuno Miguel Barrera Teixeira, who's here with us in Madison, not at the dinner we were at last night. He ditched us. Anyway.
Yeah, he did. We'll discuss that later.
He definitely did. But he asked the question, is it fair to ask if the Chiefs have hit their arc? Like, this is it. Like, now they're on the way down.
How is it not fair?
Because they still haven't actually missed the playoffs. They still haven't actually not made it to the Super Bowl. They still haven't actually not played in the AFC Championship game. But if you're going to sit there and say this weekend is so important that they may lose, it's like, all right, now they're on the way down. Ryan Cabrera style, great song back in the day.
Honestly, great song. Underrated song. Banger.
Unbelievable.
Banger of a song.
Unbelievable. Anyway, go ahead.
I want to go back quickly, though, to what you said about if you're the league office and you're worried about all these big-time quarterbacks missing the playoffs. I know that we are a quarterback-hungry nation. We love quarterbacks. We love storylines. We love matchups. I'm wondering if this playoffs, it's going to be about coaches and defense. We have unbelievable defenses stepping up this year. We're talking about the Broncos, the Eagles, the Rams, the Packers. We have a lot of great defenses that are in the playoff picture right now, and a lot of great coaches, too. Sean Payton, we'll be talking about Vrabel a lot and what he's been able to do with the New England Patriots. Harbaugh, Tomlin potentially. We'll have conversations about Sean McVay. If the Bears continue on this path, the ascension of Ben Johnson. I wonder if...
Today on Chiefs Kingdom Report, we are stepping into one of the most defining moments of the Patrick Mahomes era, a moment that demands honesty, heart, urgency, and belief. The Kansas City Chiefs sit at 5-5. They have lost 2 straight games, and if the playoffs started today, this franchise, the reigning AFC champions, the team that shaped the last decade of NFL dominance, would be watching from home. But let me tell you something that every real Chiefs fan knows deep in their bones. This story is not finished, not even close. Because if there is one thing that Kansas City Chiefs have proven over and over again, it is that they rise exactly when others expect them to fall. And right now, the fire inside this locker room is burning hotter than it has all season. We got a glimpse of that fire directly from the heart of one of the most passionate leaders this organization has ever had, Travis Kelce. On the newest episode of the New Heights podcast, Kelce spoke with a raw honesty that only a frustrated champion can deliver. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He didn't hide behind excuses. He didn't point fingers. Instead, he sent a message to every single player in that locker room, a message that should echo through Kansas City all week long. Enough blaming, enough frustration, enough negativity. It's time to attack the day. It's time to focus on the guy next to you. It's time to remember what it means to wear the Chiefs logo on your helmet. Kelce said it himself, straight up and unfiltered. He said that whatever selfish thoughts creep in when frustration builds, they need to be kicked away. That it's not about individual stats, individual awards, or individual pride. It's about this team. It's about the men lining up next to you. It's about rediscovering joy in football, even when things aren't going your way. And coming from a 36-year-old veteran, someone who may be nearing the end of his legendary career, those words carry weight, tremendous weight. Because this isn't a guy who complains. This isn't a guy who seeks attention. This is a guy who bleeds red and gold, a guy who elevated this franchise through every high moment and every low one. When Travis Kelce talks like this, the entire league should be paying attention. But let's put the situation into perspective. The Chiefs' last 2 losses came against the 7-4 Buffalo Bills and the 9-2 Denver Broncos. These weren't bottom feeders or teams sleepwalking through the schedule. They were legitimate contenders. And in the Denver game, Kansas City lost on a walk-off field goal as time expired. That doesn't excuse anything, but it shows that even with struggles, even with inconsistency, this team is still keeping itself in position to win almost every week. That's what makes this moment feel different from a collapse. This isn't a team getting blown out or overwhelmed. This is a team that needs sharpening, refocusing, and recalibration. And now, with the gut punch of going 500 this late in the season, they have every reason in the world to lock in like never before. Patrick Mahomes stepped up earlier this week and took accountability. He said openly that he hasn't been making the throws in some of these games. Let's pause on that. This is a 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl champion, and widely regarded as the most talented quarterback in NFL history. He doesn't need to say that. He doesn't need to shoulder blame, but he does. Because that's the leadership standard in Kansas City. And when your quarterback and your star tight end both look in the mirror, both challenge themselves publicly, both point back to the team-first mindset, it creates a ripple effect through the entire organization. That's what champions do. They don't hide, they don't sulk, they respond. Kelce pointed out that they've got 7 games left and might need to run the table to secure the postseason. It's a tall order, but guess what? This team is built for tall orders. This team created its dynasty on tall orders. When the Chiefs dropped to 6-4 in 2021, the media said they were done, broken, finished. Kansas City responded with an 8-game win streak. When they started slow under Alex Smith, people said Andy Reid's scheme was outdated. The Chiefs responded by drafting Mahomes and redefining the modern NFL. When doubt shows up at Kansas City's door, they slam it shut with force. And here's the part that national media conveniently glosses over. Bookmakers still believe in the Chiefs. As of Friday morning, ESPN bet listed Kansas City as a 3.5-point favorite against the Colts. The Colts are 8-2. They're rested after a bye week, and Kansas City is coming off tough losses. Yet the sportsbooks still say Kansas City is the better team. ESPN's Football Impact Index still gives the Chiefs a 53.2% chance to make the playoffs. And DraftKings still ranks the Chiefs 4th among Super Bowl favorites at plus 1,000. If this team were truly collapsing, if this franchise were truly done, the numbers would reflect that. But they don't. Why? Because analysts, odds makers, statisticians, people who rely on data and probability more than emotion still see what Chiefs fans see. This team is dangerous. Why? Because of coaching, because of culture, because of championship DNA, because this roster still has elite talent. Because Mahomes and Kelce and Chris Jones and Andy Reid have seen every possible crisis before and come out stronger on the other side. Because the Chiefs are the kind of team that uses adversity as fuel. And for a team like this, being 5-5 does not break them. It wakes them up. Sunday's matchup against the Colts is more than a game. It is a turning point, a crossroads that will define not only the narrative of this season, but the legacy of this era. The stakes are massive. The Chiefs have never lost 3 straight games in the Mahomes era, and they don't plan on starting now. They have never been under 500 this late in the season with Mahomes, and they don't plan on letting that continue. This is where everything comes into focus. This is where urgency becomes execution. This is where frustration becomes fire. And make no mistake, Kansas City knows the Colts will come into Arrowhead ready to fight. They know the Colts have talent. They know the Colts defense is fast and opportunistic. They know it won't be easy. But Arrowhead Stadium is not a stadium built for easy. It's built for war. It's built for noise. It's built for fear. And on Sunday, that stadium will feel like a pressure cooker. Every fan, every chant, every roar will matter. And Kansas City has always fed off that energy when they need it most. The Chiefs are battered but not broken. They're frustrated but not defeated. They're humbled but not hopeless. And if you've been watching this organization long enough, you can feel what's coming. You can feel that this team is about to sharpen the edges. You can feel that this team is about to turn the corner. You can feel that this team is getting ready to rise, because that is what Kansas City does better than anyone in this league. So, to everyone watching right now, tell me, what do you think? Do you trust Mahomes to lead this comeback? Do you believe Kelce's message will light a fire under this locker room? Do you think the Chiefs are about to shock the NFL again? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to Chiefs Kingdom Report so you don't miss a single step of this turnaround. The season is far from over, and the Kansas City Chiefs are far from done.